A new CBS News poll shows half of Americans and an overwhelming number of Democrats say they approve of Congress opening an impeachment inquiry into President Trump. 55% of Americans say they approve of the impeachment inquiry. 45% say they disapprove. Let's bring in CBS News Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto. Anthony, thank you so much for being here. Thanks. So, a majority of Americans may approve of an impeachment inquiry, but the nomenclature here is very important. Do they necessarily think that he deserves to be impeached?
Right. That is the key difference. And I think in this poll and in any good poll going forward, you want to separate those two. Right. The inquiry, okay, you get 55% approval.
Look into it.
It's not an overwhelming majority. It's heavily driven by Democrats, but okay, it's a majority. Now, that's the inquiry. So people are saying, okay, find out the facts. Let me learn more. Let's face it. This is foreign policy issues. This is a phone call that people didn't directly hear. So you can imagine people thinking, okay, let me try to find out more about this. And then you ask, right, does it warrant impeachment? And that's much more mixed. You get a slightly more number saying yes than no, but that's driven heavily by Democrats too. And then you get this sizable, almost a quarter, who say it's too soon to say. And here again, as with other things in the past, you find people a little bit more supportive of the idea of investigate something than rushing to judgment. And I think it's that second set of numbers that ultimately starts to tell the tale of where this goes in public opinion.
Right. So what do people think will happen if Congress actually impeaches the president? Do people have a sense of what that actually means?
Well, you know, sort of score one for the civics teachers and the civics lessons. We did ask that. What do they think what happens if the House votes to impeach? Because, look, from a polling standpoint, we want to know what people mean when they say yes, impeach, or no, don't impeach, right? And obviously it's not a word that everybody uses every day. So you do find a plurality that says that would then go to a trial in the Senate, but you do find a sizable number who say they aren't sure or it depends. But you know, you don't find a lot of people who say that he'd be removed from office right away. So that's at least good. So we sort of want to define terms and understand what people are saying when they tell us yes or no.
Right. And so if you're a Democrat, what do they need to do to sort of make their case given that landscape that you just kind of laid out for us?
One thing that stood out for me is that a lot of people, really almost half of Americans, describe what they heard about what the president supposedly did as being typical of the way presidents would engage in foreign policy. Typical, right? Okay. It's something past presidents may have done in dealing with other foreign countries.
Right. Which we know not to be the case, but, you know, this is interesting because the perception is that it's typical.
Yeah, and so, okay, it's slightly more who say, okay, it's unusual, right? But it raises the larger context, Elaine, that not everybody is going to immediately come into this with the same amount of knowledge about foreign policy and the same amount of knowledge about what things typically are done or not done on a phone call. And so to your question of what do the Democrats do, it sort of speaks to this idea that in making the case, if they want to make the case, that these things are impeachable offenses, if in fact they do, then they've got to, I think, change that public perception. They've got to make the case that it is in fact unusual. It's not something that people are talking about every day around their kitchen tables, right, until they bring it up. And so that's the thing that I think comes also out of what you want to measure in the poll.
Right, because people don't have a frame of reference here. This is not something that comes up in daily conversation in political circles, typically around the dinner table. So have people actually heard about President Trump's assertions regarding Joe Biden?
They have. Republicans certainly say that they have. Democrats as well. Now, they differ in how important they think they are. Republicans say they're important. They warrant further investigations. Democrats are much less likely to think that. But they have heard about them. I mean, it tells a story of the president can certainly put an issue on the table because the president has that power, right? Speaks to a lot of people. And so that definitely came out in the polling as well. And so we wanted to ask about that and talk about that because obviously the president is pushing back on all of this and saying, but what about Joe Biden? What about his son? So that's definitely another aspect of this worth following going forward. And again, Republicans, at least the majority of them, saying it warrants further investigation.
Right, but that 43% figure, that was both Republicans and Democrats that we just showed on the screen. So that is something that we're going to be watching in the weeks ahead.
That's right.
Anthony Salvanto. Anthony, always great to have you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elaine.